Mwenyezi Mungu
Good morning, people. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lily.
Kwani hii EAC inakuwa na pressure kila siku?
Uban kuna kungoja urudi. Washafika. Na wewe sasa unaenda wapi?
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Secretary General. Before you, we have the Alusha members of media who are here, and we also have other members of media from the partner states who are live online. And this press briefing is live through our social media, it means Twitter and YouTube. So thank you so much, Secretary General. As we have briefed you, the media, members of media, that today we are expecting the Secretary General to tell us, after, we have the 7th member of our community, that is ERC, recently. So the Secretary General is going to tell us what it means for the EAC, and of course, what it means for DRC. So we're going to hear from the Secretary General. He will give us the remarks. And then later on, we are going to open up for Q&A for media who are here, and of course, the media who are online. So thank you so much, SG, for being here with us. And now let me give you opportunity to talk to the media, and later on, of course, we'll open up for Q&A. Thank you so much, Karibu.
English or Kiswahili?
English and then.
Asante sana. Ni sana habari. This is a brief of the latest happenings in the community, aware that DRC has officially been admitted by the summit. Heads of states have admitted DRC as the 7th partner state of the East African community. Therefore, today is that what next? What is the way forward in regard to this admission? What next? And therefore, it is very important that you understand what this means. Mwananchi wa kawaida aelewe maana yake ni nini DRC kujiunga na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, na kuna manufaa yoyote, ma kuna faida yoyote mwananchi wa kawaida atakapopata kutoka kwa huu muungano. And therefore, a bit of history before the way forward is that the DRC applied for the admission to join the EAC in 2019. And then during the summit that was held on 27th February 2021, the heads of states considered that application. And when the heads of state considered that application, they directed the council ministers that they should go into verification to see and assess the level of preparedness of DRC to join the East African community. Therefore, the Secretariat, this mission was organized sometimes last year in the month of July, where the verification launch was done by His Excellency President Felix Tshisekedi Chilombo, the president of DRC. And therefore, very senior high-level officials from all the partner states were in Kinshasa for almost like 2 weeks to assess the preparedness of DRC to join the East African community. Thereafter, a report was prepared recommending to the Council of Ministers and telling them what the verification team found. What the verification team found some areas of common interest, some areas that were in line with what is happening with the East African community, and a few other areas that were not aligned. And therefore, these areas required negotiations. And therefore, on the 17th of January, after the report of verification was considered, then again the heads of state met in December 22nd. They considered the report of verification, and they directed further the council to commence the negotiations expeditiously, meaning that now the council was directed by the summit, and therefore as secretariats implementing decisions of the council and the summit, we commenced the negotiations. And these negotiations were done on 17th of January for again another 2 weeks. And those negotiations were to align what is different from DRC, East African community, and what needs to be, to be polished so that we get aligned and ensure that we are harmonized. That are we compatible? And that is what negotiation was trying to clean up. And all the 4 pillars of regional integration of the EAC, the customs union, the common market, the monetary union, and political confederation were discussed. And given the keenness of DRC to join, then this report was prepared. And it was presented to the Council of Ministers on the 8th of February this year. So the Council of Ministers looked at the negotiation report and found that there were some serious areas of differences. Most of the areas were in common. And if at all the others, there are some areas where, of course, DRC will have to be fully integrated. The Council, on their meeting of 8th February, they recommended to the summit to admit DRC. And therefore, a report was prepared and presented to the Heads of State Summit. On the 29th of March this year, the Heads of State considered the report of the Council of Ministers, where the Council of Ministers had clearly recommended it to the summit to admit DRC. So after Heads of State looked at the report and convinced that DRC qualifies to become a member of the East African community, the Heads of State announced themselves that indeed DRC is qualified, and they were admitted as full members of the East African community by the EAC Heads of States during the 19th Extraordinary Summit that was held virtually. During that meeting, each of the members of the summit, Heads of State, came out clearly demonstrating the importance and advantages of DRC to join the East African community. All of them, all the other partner states, all the heads of states. And clearly they came into conclusion that admission of DRC is timely and it's important that it happens immediately. In line with our own guidelines and the treaty and the laws of admitting a new member. Therefore, are to apply. And the heads of states themselves designated the chair of the EAC Heads of Summit, President Uhuru Kenyatta, to convene and sign the Treaty of Accession with his counterpart in DRC. So the chair of the summit was designated by the rest of the heads of state members. And after he was designated, he was given until 14th of April for that to happen. That is now what the summit adopted or directed and requested the chair or designated the chair to make arrangements and meet the president of DRC. After they communicated, the chair of the summit, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and President Felix Tshisekedi, they then agreed and communicated to us that they were ready to sign this Treaty of Accession on the 8th of April. And the chair himself offered to host that meeting in his state house offices in Nairobi, Kenya. Therefore, the Secretariat prepared accordingly to support that process. And therefore, on the 8th of April this year, the Treaty of Accession was signed by the president of DRC, meaning that they have acceded to the treaty, they have signed the treaty, they have agreed to the treaty, as it were. Meaning that now, when you look at the treaty, this document, which is the Treaty of the Community, they sign what we call the Treaty of Accession. Treaty of Accession means that they have agreed with the provisions and what is provided for in this document. So once you sign for and on behalf of your country, and as the president who has that political mandate, then you are given some time to go and ratify within your own structures in your country. You remember Rwanda and Burundi were applied to get admitted. The treaty of accession of Rwanda and Burundi was done on the 19th of June in 2007. And 1st of July, meaning after 2 weeks, they became full members, meaning they were ready to bring back and deposit the instruments with the Secretary General after 2 weeks. So similarly, now the treaty of accession has been signed by DRC, and we have given them those copies so that they can go and do the internal, the internal arrangements, either ratification or whatever it is that allows them to ratify within their structures in DRC. And then they should deposit back with the East African Community Secretariat. So when that time comes to deposit, from that time now, they become full members. And they'll be able, one, to participate in all the programs, activities of the community as full members. They should be able now to send their representatives in the East African Legislative Assembly. They should be able to send their members to the East African Court of Justice. They should be able to participate in all the directorate programs and activities in line with the programs of the Secretariat. And that is what is expected. We are in communication with the DRC, and they are in their quest, they're looking forward to deposit this instrument as soon as possible. And therefore now, DRC will be able to participate. They are already admitted, they have already acceded, meaning they are members. And therefore now we are waiting for the deposit of the instrument with the Secretariat. They are normally given a period of 6 months, but therefore it means you can do it in a week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, or within that period, depending on the structures or the systems that you have in your own country. Therefore, I thought it was important to brief the public, wananchi, wajumuiya, the state of affairs, because this integration is about the people. The treaty says the community is for the people of East Africa. And whatever we do at the Secretariat, we are their engines, we are their servants, and that is what we are trying to do. So this meeting was to give a brief on where we are in as far as admitting DRC is concerned. For purposes of the common manage or the people understanding the benefits, you will appreciate that now the East African Community is one of the largest now regional economic blocs in Africa, spanning from the coastal line of Indian Ocean to the coastal line of the Atlantic. It's expansive, coming with all the benefits of a huge regional economic bloc, but also the challenges that come along with an expanded community, because we must appreciate bigger the family, the advantages are there, but also there might be challenges. And therefore, we are ready and committed to work together as a team. We are stronger together. This community is stronger together to resolve those challenges that we may be able to face as individual partner states or as collective community of the East African community. And that is why we are saying, with the inclusion of DRC, the population of East African community goes to close to 300 million people, meaning the population of East African community has increased by nearly 50% from what it was. With the inclusion of DRC, now we are talking of 300 million people. So what does that mean to the common man? It means markets, opportunities. It means our young people should be able now to take advantage of these huge markets, use their talents, and see how we can exploit together the advantages that come along with this. Secondly, we are talking of the shared borders. Looking at the borders, DRC shares the border with 5 partner states of the East African Community. It shares borders with the Republic of South Sudan. It shares border with the Republic of Uganda. It shares border with the Republic of Rwanda. Shares border with the Republic of Burundi, and shares border with the borders with the United Republic of Tanzania. And that is one of the qualifications for you to become a member of the community. You must border at least one of the partner states. In this case, DRC borders 5 partner states. And therefore, the cultural, social interactions between the people of these countries and DRC will be happening. The interaction, the economic engagements and activities that will be coming along by the fact that we share borders, those benefits will be shared. And therefore, it will become very easy now to have opened corridors along our border points. So when now we are talking of, we'll be talking of a corridor running from the Indian Ocean to all the way to the Atlantic. And that is a huge opportunity that therefore our business people can take advantage of, exploit, and therefore now this becomes a benefit to the people. So when we are talking of an expanded market, it means if you're a manufacturer, you're a businessman, it means whatever you produce, even if you're a farmer and you're producing whatever goods you're producing from your farm, you have access to a potential of 300 million people. If I produce water, for example, Kilimanjaro, for example, if I produce this Kilimanjaro, it means I can sell this Kilimanjaro to have an access to almost like 300 million people that can take advantage, whatever it is that we produce, so that you don't look at the internal markets. For example, the markets in Uganda or Rwanda or the markets in Kenya or in Tanzania. We look at now the bigger markets. And therefore, that is why we should be able to appreciate, looking at the natural resources that exist within East Africa now, looking at all the countries from Uganda, from South Sudan, from Tanzania, from now DRC, all those natural resources, that is now potential. So if now we were to come together and exploit this, then it means now East African community becomes a major powerhouse, economic powerhouse in the region. Therefore, I think we need first as East Africans to appreciate and welcome the people of DRC into the community, but also congratulate them for this animation, because it's a very big achievement. When we talk of opportunities and investments and businesses and what it means for the youth, so we are saying, if youth with their dynamism and their advanced digital thinking, it means they could take advantage and exploit this market and make sure how they can ensure that they don't only look for for jobs alone, but they can also start now using their skills to look for business opportunities, to see how they can exploit this market. And therefore, I have a strong conviction that the heads of state summit, our presidents in East Africa, they were largely doing this for the youth. They are doing this to open opportunities for our young people, because basically that is what you are saying. Meaning that you should be able now to see what can you do in DRC. If you are youth from Tanzania, what can you do in DRC? What can DRC do this? And come together and have a very strong and vibrant community. So I think benefits are there. Challenges will also come along. But I think what you need to look at largely is how do the benefits supersede the disadvantages? And I can confirm, yes, benefits are there. Because once again, the treaty says there's a private sector driven integration. Private sector will be able to take advantage of this. And when the private sector is thriving, it means again, creation of opportunities for our young people, jobs, investments, etc. And that is why I am convinced that this move to admit DRC was very strategic and timely, on the part of the heads of state. I call upon all the East Africans, wherever you are, to together support this move, support the heads of state in this, but at the same time take advantage of what opportunities that comes along with admitting this new bloc. With a population, with a GDP now close to $294 billion US dollars, 294 billion US dollars GDP. That is not a mean, achievement. And I think that's why it's important for all of us to embrace this. And the potential in DRC, again, a huge land. I remember their minister saying, I think the speech from the minister, the president saying that there's a huge chunk of land that is not utilized in terms of agriculture, in terms of this. And so all of us, and those who are good in farming or any other, they take advantage of this. You produce from one side and you sell food on the other side. I think that is something that we need to appreciate. And that is now the message that was coming in. DRC, as we speak today, whatever they consume in DRC before they join the community, whatever they consume, 11% of what they consume comes from the East Africa. 11% of what they consume, of the goods produced and consumed in DRC, 11% comes from the partner states of the EAC. While 35% of what they consume comes from China and other places. Now that they are part of the East African community, what we are saying is that now we'll be transforming and taking advantage of that consumption so that whatever is produced from East Africa can find market in DRC, which I think it's important. On the part of DRC, they will be able now looking at the eastern part of DRC and where they get, how they access their goods. They will now be able to use and make use of the facilities, infrastructure facilities that we have. They should be able to access the Dar es Salaam port and make sure that whatever comes from other parts passes through our ports. We have the Dar es Salaam port and we have the Mombasa port. And therefore we should be able now to take advantage of these facilities and ensure that the eastern part of DRC is now have access to goods that are coming from this part of East Africa. Again, they should be able to join the framework of common external tariff, where that any goods that are produced in East Africa enjoy, a tariff regime that is calculated. If you're producing your goods within East Africa, you're able to sell them within East Africa on 0% tariff, etc. And this can only be enjoyed by those partner states that are members of the East African community. So DRC has a lot to join as well, to enjoy as well as the other partner states of the EAC equally join. So I think advantage is due. Every time as we speak about these, people would ask us, but we've had issues of peace and security in the Eastern Congo. And therefore, my response to that is, when you are together, you are easily able to easily handle a challenge than when you are alone. It becomes our challenge, collective challenge. And I look forward to a situation where maybe as the East African community, in line with the instruments that we have, to identify some experts, some eminent people to help us galvanize some of these challenges. And together we move towards ensuring that we put interventions that support the challenges that they are facing at that part of the region. So I think it becomes our interest that as we want and focus on taking advantage of businesses, we also now see together how do we resolve the issues that peace and security challenges that they are facing on the eastern part of DRC. And so is other parts of East African community. So whatever challenge they face, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that collective responsibility to resolve them. Whenever we have advantages, we enjoy those advantages again collectively. Yeah, so it's not one way. And therefore, in conclusion, I would say, yes, it is more strategic, it is advantageous to have DRC in the community. And we want to thank and congratulate the heads of state in their wisdom to have admitted DRC, but also congratulate DRC and the people of DRC on their admission to the East African community. And that's what I would want to say. So going forward, we'll be doing a lot of interactions. You are going to see some now, the East African community organize business groups and business trips to go to DRC. You're going to see some business trips. We are going to start now our business community and organizing some business trips with our people to go to DRC, and the DRC business trips to this place to see what we can be able to do together. And that is basically the intention of having an integrated East African community. Because once business is booming, that means jobs, opportunities for our youth. When business is happening, it means our youth are able to take advantage. I think that's what I would want to say for now, as far as this is concerned. I don't know whether I should repeat all that too much in Swahili, but I think it is it's well captured. Unless I've missed anything, you should be able to guide.
Thank you. Thank you so much, SG. Thank you so much for those very important details about the EAC and about, of course, the expansion of our community, as now we have the 7th member community. And I would like to acknowledge the people who have joined us online. And I'm told now we have about 60 people who are watching us live through our live stream. As I told you, we are live streaming through our social media. We have Twitter and of course, YouTube. So now we are going to open up for questions, and we are going to start from here. We are going to maybe have 2 questions, and then we'll go online for our colleagues who are online. So before you ask a question, please just introduce yourself, where you're coming from, your media house, and then shoot your question.
Lakini kabla tujaanza hapo, ningeomba swali moja, sababu nia ya hii kikao ilikuwa tuongee na wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki waelewe kwa lugha ile ya mwananchi. Lugha ya mwananchi ni kusema kwamba, cha kwanza ni kusema, napojua nchi ya DRC imejiunga rasmi na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, yaani kikao cha Baraza la Marais cha tarehe 29 mwezi wa 3, walikubaliana kwa wote kwa kauli moja kwamba wakubalie DRC ijiunge na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Na hiyo ilitokana na hoja yao ya tarehe 27 mwezi wa 2 mwaka uliopita. Walielekeza baraza la mawaziri iketi na ianze mchakato wa kuwezesha DRC kujiunga na EAC. Kwa hivyo kama Secretariat kutoka hapo tulipanga vikao. Kikao cha kwanza cha verification, wakati wakuu kutoka ngazi zote za serikali walienda Kinshasa na huku kuangalia kama DRC iko tayari kujiunga, na wakatengeneza ripoti yao, na hiyo ripoti baadaye ikaletwa kwa baraza la mawaziri, wakaikubalia na wakaomba baraza la marais kuiangalia na kukubalia mazungumzo yaanze rasmi. Na tarehe 22 mwezi wa Disemba mwaka uliopita, kikao cha baraza la marais kikulikubaliana na kikatoa mwongozo kwa baraza la mawaziri uanze mazungumzo ama negotiations na DRC. Kutoka hapo sasa, kama Secretariat tukapanga na vikundi kutoka DRC na kutoka nchi zote za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, wakakutana na wakaanza hiyo mchakato wa kuangalia masuala gani yanayofanya DRC iwe tofauti na jumuiya. Na wakakubaliana kwa mambo mengi tu. Ripoti ikaandikwa na mawaziri, baraza la mawaziri tena tarehe 8 mwezi wa 2 wakakutana, wakaiangalia ile ripoti. Na wao wenyewe wakakubali kwamba ni muhimu DRC kujiunga. Kwa hivyo wakaandika rasmi kwa baraza la marais na kuwaomba waiangalie ile ripoti, na baraza la marais waangalie kama wanaweza kuiweka DRC ama kukubalia DRC ijiunge rasmi na jumuiya. Tarehe 29 mwezi wa 3 baraza la marais likutana likaangalia ile ripoti, na kutoka upande wao wakakubaliana wote kwamba DRC ijiunge rasmi na jumuiya la Afrika Mashariki. Kwa hivyo sasa hicho kikao baraza la marais likamuomba mwenyekiti wa hilo baraza, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, rais wa Kenya, apange kikao na mwenzake rais wa DRC Felix Tshisekedi, ndio sasa watie sahihi ile muktaba ama treaty kwamba wako committed, sababu upande wa marais walikubaliana wakadibate, lakini kitu kilifanya sasa waone ukweli kama wamekubalia, ilibidi sasa wasaini muktaba ama agreement ya treaty, na hiyo baraza la marais ilikuwa limepeana mpaka tarehe 14 mwezi wa 4, lakini marais wenyewe, mwenyekiti rais Uhuru na rais wa DRC wakakubaliana, wakasema ifanyike tarehe 8 mwezi huu. Sasa Ijumaa iliyopita tarehe 8, Mheshimiwa mwenyekiti wa baraza la marais akiwa kule Nairobi akamwalika, na kwa hiyo kikao sasa sisi kama secretariat tuko facilitate, lakini tukapata bahati zaidi sababu Mheshimiwa rais kutoka Uganda, Mheshimiwa rais wa Uganda Yoweri Kaguta Museveni na rais wa Rwanda Mheshimiwa Paul Kagame wakajiunga, wakaja kule. Sasa wakasema ni vizuri pia kuona ni kitu gani kinaendelea pale, wakafika. Ila tu kikao kilikuwa kimepangwa tu cha mwenyekiti na mwenzake kutoka DRC. Kwa hivyo tunaweza sema walisaini, DRC walikubali, walisaini. Kinachobaki sasa ni hao mwenyewe kupeleka ile document huko kwa bunge lao, ndio basi waturudishie hapa ofisini kabla miezi 6 haijaisha. Lakini hao kulingana na vile naona wanasema wanataka wairudishe, kuna uwezekano warudishe mwisho wa mwezi huu ama mwezi ujao. Na hiyo maana yake ni kwamba sasa watajiunga rasmi kwa mipangilio na kwa tuseme activities zote za jumuiya. Watakuwa na uwezo wa kutuma rasmi wabunge katika bunge la Afrika Mashariki, lakini pia wabunge katika mahakama ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Hiyo maana yake ni kwamba sasa rasmi wana participate kwa activities zote. Kulingana na maono ya wakuu ama baraza la marais, waliona kweli kuna umuhimu na kuna faida kubwa DRC kujiunga, sababu imepanua soko la Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kufikia watu karibu takribani milioni 300. Hii ni soko kubwa wanaofanya biashara, lakini kwa vijana wetu pia, sababu wakati watu wanafanya biashara na biashara inaendelea kuongezeka, pia nafasi za ajira zinaongezeka kwa vijana wetu. Na ikiwa wewe ni bwana biashara ama ni mkulima, ikiwa unapanda vitu fulani, ina maana unapanda hizo vitu kwa soko kubwa sasa. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni nafasi kubwa, lakini pia itasaidia kufungua mambo ya miundombinu kutoka nchi zote za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, kutoka Indian Ocean kwenda kule Atlantic, na itasaidia sana. Kwa hivyo mimi naona kweli hata changamoto zikiwepo, lakini ina faida kubwa. Kuna fursa kubwa sana tu kwa sisi wote wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Na tunawapa hongera wananchi wa jumuiya na viongozi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, lakini wasasa wa DRC wa kupata nafasi ya kujiunga. Kwa sasa hivi tunaweza sema hata kabla wajangiunga na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ilikuwa inatuma 11% ya bidhaa zinatumika kule DRC. Lakini zile unatumia kule ni karibu 35% zinatoka nchi zingine. Lakini kwa sasa itawezekana sasa badala ya kutoa bidhaa kutoka kule, watatumia bidhaa kutoka hapa, wakitumia ile mchakato wa forodha ya pamoja kama customs union, common external tariff. Kwa hivyo naona faida zipo. Sisi wote kama wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki tujivunia kwamba jumuiya letu inaendelea kukua, lakini pia nafasi na fursa zitakuwa nyingi kwa vijana wetu lakini kwa wale wote wanataka kufanya biashara katika jumuiya. Tujue hizo pia zikiwepo, lakini changamoto zitakuwepo na maswala wengine ndio wetu tu wataanza kuchukua advantage na kuleta maswala ya usalama. Lakini naamini kwamba tukiwa pamoja kama Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, changamoto zikiwa tutazitatua tu kwa pamoja. Itakuwa rahisi sana kuzitatua kwa pamoja badala ya mtu kupambana na tatua kivyake. Kwa hivyo tukiwa pamoja, sauti itakuwa nzito. Changamoto zote zikiwa tutazitatua kwa pamoja. Kwa hivyo tujivunie kwamba jumuiya letu linaendelea ku-expand kulingana na vile waanzilishi wa jumuiya wenyewe walikuwa wanatarajia. Kwa hivyo naona hiyo ndio nafasi yenye ipo, lakini tuwe tayari kuhusisha wananchi wote kwa chochote tunachofanya kwa mambo ya jumuiya, sababu jumuiya ni wananchi na tunafanya hapa tu kama watumishi wa wananchi wa kawaida. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri, na ndio sababu tukachukua nafasi kuwaelezea wananchi ni kitu gani walikuwa wanaona baraza la maizi walikuwa wanafanya nini, maana yake ni nini, na ni faida gani watapata. Na ndio sababu tukapata nafasi kuwaelezea wananchi wote mahali walipo kwamba hili ni nzuri kwa sisi wote na hakuna fursa tu nyingi. Kwa hivyo tujiandae sasa kwamba jumuiya letu lipepanuka vilivyo. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Secretary General. Indeed, jumuiya yetu ni jumuiya ya kwetu na ni ya wananchi wote. So as I said before, we have 2 questions from here and then we are going online. We'll start from Edward. Please introduce yourself and the media house. You can ask in English or Swahili.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Mkuu. My name is Edward Koro from the Daily News in Arusha. I have 2 questions if you don't mind. The first one is, President Tshisekedi in his acceptance speech that day, he had requested the EAC Heads of States Summit to create an organ or establish an organ that would be looking into protecting the natural resources. And he also requested that such an organ to be relocated, to be put in place in his country. What is the plan of the Secretariat? Have you made any arrangements towards that request? And does it mean that this will have an effect on the treaty? And the second question is, you've talked of an upcoming business trip to the DRC for the business delegation to explore on a wealth of opportunities that you had highlighted earlier. What is your office doing? Do you have any plans of accommodating us as journalists to come to go to DRC and also explore the business and working opportunities? Thank you.
Jimmy will take another question and then ask.
Katibu Mkuu, mimi naitwa Ramadhani Mvungi kutoka Azam Media. Swali langu la kwanza ni, baada ya Congo ni lini ambapo tutaweza kuona kwamba mwanachama mwingine anaweza kupata nafasi, na kama kuna yoyote ambaye yuko kwenye mchakato ambaye ameomba kujiunga na EAC? That's number 1. Number 2, najua nikiangalia kalenda ni kama unatimiza mwaka mmoja ofisini. Unaweza kutupa in brief achievement za namna gani unaweza kuzisema kwamba tangu join EAC kama Secretary General zimeweza kufikiwa? La mwisho ni kuhusiana na hili swala la Congo, kwamba unasema soko la bidhaa linakuwa, lakini tunaona swala la kiusalama hasa mashariki mwa Congo tunaona bado ni changamoto kidogo. Kuna timu maalum ambayo pengine EAC inaweza kupeleka huko katika kusaidia kuharmonize situation ambayo iko sasa hivi? Asante.
Asante sana. Nianze kwa mwenzangu alianza na kimombo kusema kwamba
You can revert on that question in English because the audience from all over who don't understand English also came on the organ, the first question in English.
Yeah, what it is true. In fact, I was only confirming that there was a request by the president of DRC to consider having an institution that is dealing with the natural resources, mineral natural resources, but to be based in DRC. That was a request from a member, from the president to the summit. And the summit have given directive that the council should fast track integrating DRC into this. The treaty and creation of institutions and organs, that is done by the summit. And that is why President Tshisekedi directed this request to the members of the summit, so that in their wisdom, they could consider to have a special institution on natural and mineral resources in East Africa, but to be hosted by DRC. Looking at the current institutions, each of the partner states of the EAC is hosting an institution. We have the Kiswahili Commission, for example, in Zanzibar. We have Lake Victoria Basin based in Kenya. We have the Lake Victoria Fisheries in Uganda. We have the Inter-University Council in Uganda. We have a Health Commission in Burundi. We have the Technology Institution in Rwanda. And that is to say, it was strategic on his part to put that request. And I think it is the right thing to do. But again, that request was put to the summit. And the summit in their response agreed to say, we should integrate them, DRC, so that as the institution is created, it is there for the benefit of the people of East Africa, and particularly East Africans in DRC. So I think that is something that is taken as part of our tasks to come up with a framework. The experts in the office will be able to advise and a procedure that is there. We are developing a roadmap of integrating. And if this creation of this institution could be part of the roadmap of the issues that we are going to undertake. And for this specific request that was made by the president. But on the upcoming businesses, in the roadmap, we are going to have so many activities where we have to start now building capacity of the DRC people, understanding how they can benefit from the community, but also the business community to see what opportunities that exist in DRC and vice versa, DRC people coming over here. I think that is important. So in terms of the timelines and when these trips are happening, the technical teams are developing a program. And when the program, it could be very soon actually. So when the program is happening, obviously, it will be in our interest to involve the state members of the state, the media, so that they can walk along with us. You are the people who normally take information too. And therefore the communication department will be able now to ensure that we work along with other people. In line with the other members who have applied to become members, remembering the directive by the heads of state on the 27th of February last year, they directed that we consider the application by DRC, but also application by Somalia. And therefore now, we have to look at the application, engage with the country that has applied, Somalia, establish their readiness, how ready they are, identify where there are gaps, and discuss with them on how those gaps can be addressed. So yes, there's an application. In terms of when, that is a process that we are starting to engage with Somalia to identify their readiness. But also, there is a procedure for any other partner state making an application. So it is open. And that consideration is done by the heads of state summit, the heads of states. So I think we'll be looking forward to any other member. We'll be very happy to have an expanded East Africa that is working for the benefits of the people of East Africa. And therefore, we look forward to that. In terms of the team that is going to address some of the challenges that we are facing in DRC. Yes, we are, as a secretariat, as East African community, and I think there are some decision by the summit to identify some experts who could help. And if that, for example, need arises, we could identify experts the heads of states could appoint if they deem it fit, identify eminent people who could intervene in some of the issues, not only on the issues of peace and security, but also other areas that would enhance, the integration. Again, that is a preserve of the summit, who in their wisdom they may wish to identify who are these eminent people to intervene in what area. And therefore, that is, if at all it comes that one of the areas is peace and security, yes, the heads of state may then look at it and say, we are ready to identify or appoint a team of eminent people to support in this particular assignment. So when that time comes, definitely you'll be able to know. What achievements have we done for the last 1 year? Ninyi wenyewe tu muniambie. You're the ones to tell us, because you've been with us at Secretariat. Our work is to work and to work for you. In terms of marking scheme, it is the people of East Africa to make a marking scheme and see, are we doing fine or we are not doing fine? We'll be happy to receive response on how you find the community moving. So it's not really our business to say this is what we have achieved or not achieved. It's yourselves, how do you feel it? In fact, I should be able to ask Mvungi from you, what do you think that we have done? Kwa hivyo mimi naweza sema hayo kwamba kweli wengine kulingana na kikao cha baraza la marais ya tarehe 27 mwezi wa pili mwaka uliopita, ni kweli walikubaliana, waliangalia application zilizofanyika. Application moja ilikuwa ya DRC na nyingine ya Somalia. Na DRC tumeielezea. Ya Somalia bado tunaendelea kuzungumza na wale tuone ni vipi, ni wapi, wako tayari kiasi gani na vitu kama hizo. Na tukiendelea na kuangalia kama wako tayari, basi tutakuwa tunawaelezea tu, lakini kweli hii application ipo. Wengine wote tu wameruhusiwa kujiunga na jumuiya. Na hiyo application ikifanyika ni viongozi wenyewe tu, marais, baraza la marais wakipokea wataiangalia umuhimu wake na itakuwa namna gani. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa tayari pia kuzungumza na kuona ni kina nani wako tayari. Kwa hivyo hiyo changamoto mizungumzia mambo ya usalama kule, nilikuwa nimeelezea kweli. Nikasema yes, changamoto lazima ziwepo, na mahali hata familia ikiendelea kuwa pana ama kuwa kubwa ni vizuri kwa wote, lakini changamoto zitakuwa, sababu mule ndani kutakuwa na watoto wengine watundu, wengine wako hivi wakorofi kidogo, lakini itakuwa ni kazi yetu kuwaleta pamoja na kusema tuangalie ni vipi wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki watafaidika. Ikiwa kutakuwepo na haja ya kuangalia kundi maalum ama eminent people kutusaidia kwa jambo fulani, hiyo marais, baraza la marais na mawaziri wataangalia waseme hii tunaona ni vizuri tuwe na kundi maalum kutusaidia kwa jambo fulani. Na wakati ukifika tayari mtaona. Kwa hivyo mimi naona ikiwa ni mambo ya ombi iliyofanyika na Mheshimiwa Rais Tshisekedi kwamba tuwe na institution moja kule, naona hiyo tu iko kwa roadmap yetu, na wakati wake ukifika itakuwa ni vizuri pia sisi kwetu kuwa na institution moja ya jumuiya iko kule inahusika na mambo yanayosaidia jumuiya. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema kweli ni vizuri ikiwa kutakuwa na vikundi vya wanabiashara ama watu wengine wanaosafiri DRC, tutawahusisha na tutawaelezea, ndio sisi wote tujipange na kwenda kwa pamoja. Asante.
Thank you so much, SG. Now I think, as I promised, we can go online and see who is ready online. I've been told James Karuanga from Rwanda.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. Am I being heard?
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, Mr. Secretary General. James Karuhanga from the New Times, Kigali. My question is on the integration of a partner state, but I'll be specific. I want to request for what is going on as regards the integration of South Sudan into the customs union. You remember well, just last March, the Assembly discussed a report indicating there was very little progress as regards the integration of South Sudan into the customs union. This somehow relates to the EAC welcoming a new member. If South Sudan is not properly integrated, even DRC might have challenges, but let's just focus on South Sudan. What is the Secretariat doing to help address the challenges that were highlighted in the report by EALA? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, SG. And I think we can connect with this one from, his name is Justin Wenga from Lubumbashi. His question is, now DRC is a member of the community. As the DRC citizen, can we now travel to EAC without a visa? So we can maybe take those two, SG.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the Republic of South Sudan, which was admitted to the EAC, and now South Sudan is a full member of the East African community. They participate in all the programs, meetings, and activities of the community. They've been doing that. However, the process of fully integrating the Republic of South Sudan is a process, and we must appreciate the circumstances existing in the Republic of South Sudan, where they've also been dealing with the issues of stabilizing peace, and we have been working with them in this journey of ensuring that they remain peaceful. But also in terms of integrating them fully into the customs union, already there is an existing one stop border post in Nimule at the border of Uganda and South Sudan. And that is to say, we are preparing and putting systems that support them. Already we are working closely with the different ministries to ensure that their systems work for them. And we have been supporting fully. As we speak, we are fully, as we do recruitment of new staff at the community, we have also considered, in fact, we have given affirmative action to ensure that that South Sudan is fully integrated. So we are going to have some people from the Republic of South Sudan work at the Secretariat, just as we did with other partner states when they were joining. It's a journey, it's happening. It may not be as fast as we may want, but I can tell you from where I sit, the Republic of South Sudan, we are working with them, we are supporting them. There is a roadmap that actually defines on how we are going to fully integrate them. The roadmap is still in progress, and that is why we have members of parliament from South Sudan in the Assembly of East Africa. We have, we have them participate. We have the ministers from the Republic of South Sudan fully participating in activities and meetings of the East African community. In terms of supporting them, in fact, even in terms of infrastructure, there is a road in the northern Uganda called the East African Road, and planning on how to connect it to even the Republic of South Sudan. Now, that is to say that we are trying our level best to fully integrate them. It's a process. Circumstances in each partner states are different from other partner states, but we are working closely with them to support them. And that is the commitment that the summit gave, the same commitment done by the Council of Ministers. And therefore, as Subs Secretariats, we also committed to implement those commitments of fully integrating South Sudan. The second issue from Lubumbashi is, can DRC citizens be able to freely travel to other partner states without a visa? As we draw the roadmap and as we work with the government of DRC, they will obviously be getting to resolve some of these things. As we speak, as you travel from, let's say, Uganda to Rwanda, these days you use a national ID. As you travel from Nairobi to Kampala, you use national ID. And other partner states of the EAC are also moving toward, they're preparing themselves. Because again, whatever you do, you must prepare yourself so that whatever you do, you also don't compromise security. And that is why other partner states are preparing for machine readable IDs, so that as they issue it to their citizens, they are able to fill it. So the agenda and the vision is to ensure that people from East Africa, leave alone visa, you should be able to travel from one country to another using your national ID. And that is what we've been trying to do. And every country has their own program that they have submitted, and they are working to ensure that that is achieved. So similarly, from the people of DRC, as we work with our government, our ultimate goal is to ensure that they can travel anywhere in East Africa using their national ID, assuming they have. so that you don't have to use your passport. So even visa, you not now be, they'll be, as they get fully integrated, there's no way you can say you want a tourist visa when you are traveling from one partner state to another. You should be able to freely. So this is in our roadmap, and we are going to facilitate and work with them to see, with the government, to ensure some of those obstacles of visa requirement and other things are removed, just as other partner states. When we are moving from any of the partner states in East Africa currently, no one pays for visa. So similarly, now DRC should be able to move to any of the partner states without a visa, without paying any visa. And that is already happening. And that is why we are saying as a secretariat, we are going to work with the governments to ensure that all those obstacles are removed.
Thank you, SG. Now we can get.
Naomba hiyo ya visa kujua kwa Kiswahili kwa sababu kuna simu nyingi sana zinakuja kutoka kwa Tanzania. Wanataka kujua lini watakuwa wanaingia Kongo na kutoka Kongo bila visa.
Kweli kabisa. Na asante sana engineer kwa hiyo. Kweli hilo swali limetoka kule Lubumbashi. Wana DRC wataweza sasa kutembea makwenda mahali popote bila kulipa mambo ya visa. Tukasema kwamba sasa hivi ikiwa wewe ni mwananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, ukitoka nchi moja kwenda nyingine, malipo ya visa hayapo. Ila sasa hivi tutaanza mchakato wa kufanya kazi kwa karibu kama Secretariat na DRC. Tutengeneze roadmap ya kuwasaidia wale kufanya kazi karibu na serikali ya DRC, ndio hizi vikwazo zote ziondolewe. Kwa sasa hivi nilikuwa nasema hata wacha mambo ya visa. Sasa hivi watu wanatumia vitambulisho za kawaida na hutumika kila nchini. Kwa mfano, ukitaka kuondoka kutoka Kampala ama Uganda kwenda Rwanda ama Rwanda kwenda Nairobi, unatumia kitambulisho cha kawaida cha mwananchi. Na hiyo ni swala walizungumza kama baraza la mawaziri wakakubaliana, lakini kila nchi inajaribu, iko na mikakati inaweka kuhakikisha kwamba national ID ama vitambulisho za kawaida zinatumika. Kila nchi iko na system yake, lazima vizuri tukifanya hiyo pia tuangalie mambo ya usalama. Na ndio kila nchi iko na roadmap yake ya kuona ni lini wataanza rasmi kutumia vitambulisho. Kwa hivyo wana Congo, wana DRC, itafika wakati sasa hata wacha mambo ya visa. Ukiwa na ID kitambulisho ya kawaida, unaweza safiri kutoka DRC kuingia Dar es Salaam, kwenda Arusha kuangalia mbuga za wanyama na kila mahali popote. Kwa hivyo na hiyo ndio ombi letu. Kwa hivyo tukianza sasa mchakato wa kuangalia kuwasaidia ni vipi mtajiunga kabisa kwa programs na activities. Hiyo itakuwa moja yao kuona vile tutaondoa vikwazo kama hizo. Ndio wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki wawe na uhuru wa kutembea ama kutoka nchi moja kwenda nyingine bila hizo vikwazo za mambo ya visa. Na hiyo tukifanya hiyo program, wananchi tu mtatembea na nyinyi mtatakuwa mnaangalia hizo gani. Tukianza hiyo roadmap, na hiyo roadmap sasa itaanza immediately, sasa watadeposit hizo instrument. Sasa hiyo ni moja ya hizo vitu tutaanza na watatangaziwa waone kwamba kweli serikali, na mtakuwa mnatazama nyinyi wenyewe, mnaona EAC kama Secretariat na DRC tunafanya kwa karibu kuondoa vitu kama hizo, na mtakuwa tu tunatembea na tunawaelezea ni kipindi gani na ni lini rasmi sasa mtaanza kutembea bila masuala ya visa. Mtaelezewa na mtayaona tu, lakini hakikisho kutoka kwetu ni kwamba tutaifanyia kazi, ndio sasa nyie kama mwanza kujivunia kama wananchi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kama wengine tu kutoka nchi zingine.
Thank you, Secretary General. We can take maybe the two from online and then we'll come back here where we are. So we have Moses from Burundi. Please go ahead. Introduce yourself and your media house, please.
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Moses Hagerimana from Burundi. My first question is about the implementation of the Common Market Protocol by the partner states. It's now almost 7 years since the closure of the borders between Burundi and Rwanda. when we're talking about the free movement of goods and persons. What is the EAC doing in order to address this challenge? Because most of the traders and also citizens can hardly cross the border to Rwanda from the two partner states. Another question is about also South Sudan, because now some EAC citizens have to pay visa to enter South Sudan. How has this gone so far in order to respect the common market protocol and not the violation of the protocols of the community? And the last question could be the remittance of partner states. We have seen South Sudan and Burundi are one of the biggest defaulters. How are we making sure that the member states, the new member states also should not be among the biggest defaulters, which has been hindering the projects and the implementation of the projects of the community? Thank you.
Thank you. We can take another one before you answer. Mr. Branche, please go ahead.
Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, please go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, Secretary General, for this press conference. I'm called Musings Branchen. I'm based in Kampala, Uganda, but I work with the Africa Report magazine. My question is, DRC has a lot of challenges which requires practical solutions. One of them which you have hinted on is security. And Uganda currently has a deployed in parts of Eastern DRC to flush out some of the rebels who are linked to Uganda. That's really is a very, very practical challenge for the East African community. And DRC has had this challenge for more than 5 decades and plus. This is one of the challenges that comes to the East African community. What are the practical solutions that you have within your institutional framework to deal with this challenge? Second is the challenge of infrastructure. The East African community has its biggest market in DRC. From the available trade data shows that as of 2019, East African member states had exported goods worth near $1 billion to DRC. That's a very, very huge market. But exploit more of this market, you need to put in place infrastructure. What are the means that the East African community have to deal with the infrastructure challenges of DRC?
Thank you for that, SG. But before you answer, I would like to acknowledge the people who have joined us. We have more than 100 people who are watching us live. Thank you, SG. You can go.
Thank you very much, and indeed happy that you are joining us live from wherever you are. This is your community. Now, starting with the first question on the issues with border issues between partner states here and there. Again, this is a community, and is a community of partner states, meaning that still borders exist. And these borders are supposed to facilitate movement of people, movement of goods. And therefore, when time and again you find that there's a challenge, that does not mean that the community is so badly. We must also look at the good side of what we are doing. And whenever we are doing good, you cannot be expecting to be 100% doing very good. Sometimes there'll be some challenges. Some people will come and say, I'm not happy here or here and this. And I'm sure there's a program, our teams working with the partner states of any partner state affected or have issues within the border points. We are working with them, encouraging them, motivating them, ensuring, addressing some of those issues that are affected. And therefore, I want to assure those people who would want to know what is happening. There are some mechanisms that are being put in place to ensure that our borders remain free and people can move freely and goods can also move. And therefore, there must be a system that whatever is being done is done in concurrence with those partner states. And that is something I can assure you we are still addressing, and it's in our best interest to ensure that borders of East Africa, all of them across East Africa, people should be able to make use of them and facilitate movement and ensure also safety and security. of those people who are crossing and goods that are moving are also ensured. And that is in our interest. And that's why we are here to facilitate as a secretariat and support, work with the council, work with the partner states to ensure that whatever is done for the good of both partner states and for people from both sides. The issue of the Republic of South Sudan, I'm still repeating. I may not have answered rightly in the beginning. The Republic of South Sudan is a full member of the EAC. We have a roadmap of integrating them fully into the East African community. And I can assure you, already we have members of parliament from the Republic of South Sudan into our assemblies. And therefore we are, at every stage, at every time, we are trying to support them. Already we have one-stop border post existing in the borders between, other countries of East African Republic of South Sudan. And that is to say, we are still supporting them. We're still building the capacity of the private sector businesses there so that they understand what happens in other countries. So I don't think this is a problem. In terms of the payments of the partner states, I can confirm that we have never left or omitted any country out of activities because of delayed payment. And the delayed payment is an issue that is already being canvassed by the Council of Ministers. We are very confident that these things are being resolved. In fact, we have seen quite an improvement in terms of how countries are committing to make their subscriptions or make their pay. We still encourage them so that once they finish their outstanding dues, that will help a lot in terms of facilitating programs and activities. But this is a matter already, the Council is already seized of this matter, and we are working closely with all the partner states to ensure they all comply and pay so that there's no delay. There's no delay in payment. But I appreciate those partner states that have already paid 100% because already they are paid and we are able, through the payment that they have made, we are able to undertake activities and programs. And that is why I strongly feel that the community is on course. In terms of infrastructure development in our community, the community works very closely with different partners, the World Bank, African Development Bank, to identify what we call priority infrastructure projects. You find that now looking at the projects that are existing, we have interconnectivity of road network across all partner states of the EAC. The road that is running from Arusha all the way to Athi River in Kenya is an East African road. There is another road that is running, and a map engineer is here, running from all the way from Tanzania to Burundi border. And that is a road that is, there's other road connecting, Tanzania and Uganda in the north. And we have other road infrastructure projects across. So it is in our interest, if we want to fully exploit the advantages of, DRC joining, to ensure that we focus on development of infrastructure so that we can now facilitate connectivity of all the capitals of partner states with the DRC. Again, when we say that we are spanning from the Atlantic to Indian Ocean, that will be, we'll take advantage of that if we focus on infrastructure development. That is one of our strategic functions, activities as a community. So what I want to assure, we are going to work with our development partners and also the partner states and identify those priority projects, infrastructure projects, to make sure that we fully support. I'm sure DRC will be coming on board as we do a roadmap to make sure that we open the infrastructure projects in DRC so that, again, goods and people can freely move from one part of East Africa to the other.
Thank you, Secretary General. As we wind up because of time, I know you have other engagements. We can take one question from online, which we have been sent to me here, and then we can take two from here. This is Gerard Andai, Business Daily Kenya. He said, when ICG, rollout of EAC passport is behind schedule, and it seems none of the member states has full honored their deadline. Council of Ministers announced that the deadline has been pushed to November. Will this new deadline hold? Are we going to see the old generation passport phase out completely? That is Gerard Andai from Business Daily. Maybe we can take the other two here and then we wind up.
John, come on.
Jina langu naitwa Siraji Mvungi, nafanya kazi ITV Superbrand Afrika Mashariki. Mimi nilikuwa nataka kuzungumzia tu swala la wananchi kutoka nchi moja kwenda nchi nyingine. Mpaka sasa hivi bado kuna malalamiko kwamba wananchi kutoka nchi moja kwenda nchi nyingine, haswa katika mipaka hii, wanachajiwa bado zile gharama za kupima COVID, gharama kubwa zile. Sasa tungependa labda kujua kwamba sasa hivi COVID kidogo imepungua. Kuna mpango wowote pengine sasa wa kupunguza zile gharama, kwa sababu wanalalamika kwamba sasa hivi imekuwa kama vile ni mradi wa kuingiza mapato kwa nchi moja kwenda nchi nyingine. Maana hakuna, kila mwananchi lazima, kama hana pesa ya kupima COVID, hata kama anataka kwenda nchi nyingine, hasa wananchi wa hali ya chini hawawezi kwenda kwa sababu ya hizo gharama. Labda hilo ungelitolea ufafanuzi kidogo.
Yes, SG, my name is Zephania Obwani. I'm reporting for the Citizen from Arusha. Actually, I had several questions, but Karuhanga from Rwanda had preempted me on the South Sudan integration. And in my opinion, the integration of South Sudan had been very slow compared to other countries like Rwanda, and maybe the integration of DRC may be faster. Will supersede the South Sudan because of the challenges and other things. But my question is regarding the security challenges in the Eastern Congo. I think when DRC applied and when it was admitted into the EAC, many people had been questioning about the security situation. Now, you said that eminent people will be consulted on this. But I understand at the EAC Secretariat, you used to have a peace and security unit. How empowered is that unit in order to address those issues? And peace and security challenges are not only confined to Eastern Congo, but it cuts across even within the member states of the Great Lakes region in particular are facing security challenges. So I wanted to know about that peace and the security unit which used to be here. And at one time I was told it was not being well funded by donors and such things. How empowered is that in order to address this challenge of security? Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, I can commit from where I sit that yes, we have peace and security function within the Secretariat, actually that reports directly to the Office of the Secretary General. And that is to tell you that it is a function that is taken seriously. I would say, yes, it is properly facilitated. And that is why in the wisdom with all these reports and when the Council is considering report on the summit, we also give input on does this security situation, DRC, really affect adversely the admission process. And using the facilities that we have, including what you have said, yes, we used and we made use of them. We are still making use of them to continue monitoring and advise us, on what we need to do to intervene on security issues. So I can assure you, we are fine, we are okay with that function. It is going to be helpful. It is going to help us. We are going to strengthen it more. The issue of eminent, I said, that is a preserve of the summit members. That practice has been done before, where whenever we have a situation, in the wisdom of the summit, they may identify some eminent people who can be of help in trying to support that particular aspect. And if that need arises, we are going obviously to exploit all those options and get guidance from the Council and the summit on trying to identify eminent people on this issue of security, which I fully understand. But again, I'm saying, yes, challenges are there, and you have rightly said, peace and security is not only in DRC, It's all over in our region, in the entire continent, in the entire world. Other parts of the world, we have seen issues of peace and security. And therefore, it is our collective responsibility as East Africa, as the leaders of East Africa, at the partner states level, at the councils level, ministers, at the summit level, at the secretariat, all come together to ensure that we, intervene and address those issues that affect any of the partner states of the EAC. I am confident, even the issues in DRC and other parts of East Africa, we shall work together to ensure that they don't affect the peace of our people. Because at the end of the day, what we are looking for is peace. And citizens of East Africa are looking for peace. And it is through peace, then we should be able to have prosperity, and businesses should be able to happen, and therefore provide jobs for our youth. On the issue of COVID, lately, and I think I have that information, that now COVID is a challenge, and we must appreciate COVID came all over globally. It came into East Africa. And we must appreciate that the partner states of EAC have really tried to work against the challenge to save lives, but also to save businesses, all the partner states of the EAC. As we move now, as they monitored how COVID is happening, we are happy to say that as you enter some partner states, COVID now is no longer a requirement. As you move from any country entering into Tanzania, that is not a requirement. They have lifted those things because that is not a threat, but also they are putting systems in place that would support whenever that kind of challenge is there. And so is when we are moving now to Kenya, when we are moving. So what we are trying to do is, of course, we have been working towards a very harmonized way of dealing with it, harmonization of dealing with COVID challenges. But we must appreciate already partner states are assessing and trying to relax some of those things. Lazima tukubalie kwamba bunge hilo changamoto limeshughulikiwa, na kweli ukiwa unatoka nchi moja kwenda nyingine, kwa mfano ukiingia Tanzania, hiyo condition haipo. Ukitoka Tanzania ama kutoka nchi nyingine uingie Kenya, hiyo requirement lazima uwe na COVID test. Hizo zimeondolewa. Bora tu uko na ile cheti ama certificate ya kuonyesha kwamba uko na chanjo, na hiyo inafanyika kote. Na ni tumaini letu kwamba nchi zote za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki tunasaidiana, tunafanya kazi kwa pamoja, tuone kama kweli tutaharmonize those standards. Ikiwa unatembea kwenda mali, kwenda pengine, ukiwa na cheti tu, certificate ya vaccination, basi hauna hiyo. Kwa hivyo naona tunashughulikiana, ni lazima tukubali kwamba tulikuwa kwa janga, na hilo lilikuwa janga la COVID, na kweli viongozi na nchi zetu zilipambana vilivyo. Ndio sasa kuangalia maisha ya wananchi haya hatarini, lakini pia kuangalia nafasi za biashara, na biashara haziathirika sana pakubwa. Lakini sasa hivi tunaendelea kwa recovery period, na ndio sababu tumesema imepungua. Kwa hiyo ikipungua, basi serikali zinaendelea kuangalia, na ikiwa zinapungua, basi pia zina lift those sanctions. Tumaini letu kwamba hii changamoto haitakuwepo, lakini pia ni somo kwetu kwamba wakati wote tupate changamoto kama hilo ni janga, tufanya kazi kwa pamoja. Tukifanya kwa pamoja itatusaidia sana kuondoka kwa hizo janga. The electronic e-passport that we have been addressing, we must appreciate that the electronic passport, the e-passport, and I think quite a number of countries of the partner states have already complied. Of course, we may not have faced the hot passport completely, because again, passport is not is an item that again involves issues of security, but also involves costs. And therefore, countries, partner states have been working to face, and I think quite a number of them, even yourselves, for those who have been passport, now they have the new passport, what we call the electronic passport, with all the bio information in it. And we are encouraging those countries that have not fully complied. And I imagine all the countries have complied. It is only that all the citizens may not have gotten the opportunity to get the e-passports. But that is something that I think government is working to ensure it happens, because it involves the issues of budget and also issues of security, etc. But I'm confident from where I sit, quite a big number of East Africans are enjoying that facility of electronic passport. So thank you very much. And
Thank you, SG. And that marks the end of our press conference today. And I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Secretary General, all the people who have joined us live. We are more than 100 people online. So thank you so much for being with us. And of course, as the Secretary General mentioned, we have the new map of EAC, which we have used it in our website, and we are going, of course, to flash it out. So we have the new map of EAC. Thank you again for all of you, and of course the media people who are here from Arusha. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless you.
Actually, I think it's not a new map. It's how the new look of East Africa.
The EAC, yes.
It's how now the EAC looks with the addition of DRC. Yes.
Yes, that is now the image of the East African community with the addition of the DRC.
So let's produce in map together.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Because what remove who is having the who is mother? Minimize it. Do you funike? It's funike. Then I can't remove that. Yes.
Yes, as you can see, that is the new image of the EAC, the East African community, with the additional baby, which is the new member, the DRC.
Mwisho mkonesha DRC yote mpaka chini ndio msikati.
It's okay.
Apunguze yote itokezee. Apunguze kidogo. Au apunguze the resolution ile itokezee. Sasa.
Thank you so much.
Sasa mkichukua hiyo basi.
Yeah.
Lakini mfano ilizotolewa rasmi na marais. Kwa hivyo tujaziliwa chochote, sisi ile zilizotolewa na marais. Asante sana.
Asante sana.